This is going to be one of the most important discussion inside this bull market. At this point, right now, understanding where you are in the market cycle and what the market is going to do is really important. Are you here in the first stage of accumulation, mid accumulation, late accumulation, or are you entering markup? And if you are, then are you inside here, or you are nearing the top where you are like 2 by 2, then you have a little bit of pump and then you're going down, you don't know. Now to understand this, you can literally go into the charts, put these out and look at these, understand what the market is doing. Say this is XRP BTC pair and you are literally at the bottom where you see the accumulation range. That's the late accumulation which is happening right now if you analyze just this pattern here. So in XRP BTC, you are getting late accumulation, great, and XRP USD, you are getting the late accumulation towards start of the markup. So right now, it really looks like entering into the markup phase in XRP USD, and XRP BTC shows like this. Now, what about BTC pair? What about Ether? You have to understand those, right? Because those are key part of the market. Now, this is BTC, and as it looks, it definitely shows that it went in, it has done this first one where it retested once, twice, the previous top it's being retesting here, the previous it retested here the support range, and then it bounced where you didn't get much of a retest intermediately. Now look at that chart again and ask yourself, was it something similar? You came up, you went back, retested, went up. Then again you had a consolidation, you went up, you came back down, retested that break, and then pumped without any retest in between, and then went high, and then first you slowed down and then you again went up and created a new high and came back down. Where does this fit in? You have this scenario here. Now the key indicator of understanding that the 2 by 2 area is going to end soon is that you're going to get something similar to this in between here. That's the highlighted box here. So if you go look at BTC, then you're like, okay, fine. So you got this particular box where you dropped, and now you may also see the same thing happening here. Now for that, you'll have to go in, zoom in on a daily or 3-day chart and understand that, but it literally seems that is happening here. So that means you still have a little bit of upside there, and then you're looking for Ether. Now you literally have to look at each asset in your portfolio and look where it is now and what you are anticipating for next 3 months, next 6 months, 1 year. If you are here in this part of the bull run, literally look at the time taken. That's the important factor which a lot of people doesn't have much of time, because they are leveraged, they are all over the place. They don't know what the market is going to do in respect to the ROI and time. So you look at the first phase, that takes the most part. Then you're getting a little bit. So right now we understood Ether, BTC, they are in this category. Then you only have even lesser time to top out and go out. So that would be, you have to calculate that, right? So that would be like for us in XRP, we are somewhere entering here. Then we are moving up. So now we have to actually detail through that and ask ourselves, okay, what are these areas of market showing you? If you have entered early, what does it mean to you? If you are entering right now, what can you look forward to, right? So these are the questions which you need to answer in conjunction with other factors. You need to actually look at how the entire market is going to do, where the entire market is at, and then compare what your assets are. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. In this market right now, we're getting a little bit of mixed pump and correction in the market. So some of the coins, they are moving up, some of them are doing better. Now, yes, even though majority of the market is moving, we still have a lot of coins which are reaching our targets, which are moving as we anticipated. Say we've been doing charts, and as you can see, this is in the Patreon where we show this is moving accordingly, which is nearing our target. A lot of assets are doing it pretty well. Now, if you look at all those, you understand like, okay, even though the majority of the market is slowing down like this, you still have a lot of opportunities in the market. And if you want to get items like that in a chart showing you this is what's happening right now, this is the pattern, this is the measured move, and this is where you're gonna end up, you can look at the Patreon. The link is in the description below. Now guys, look at this. First, we went higher. We topped out $3.8. Great. Then we came down. So if you take this one, you look at this. Okay, we came down all the way back down and we stopped there. So that's the bottom. Great. Then you accumulated there, meaning you consolidated for a long period. Whenever the price came down, people were buying. People were buying. It was being pushed back up. It was being pushed back up all these time. But it changed here. So those who came in here was a little bit too early. Then the market started breaking down, creating new low here. It went down, it bounced, it went down, it bounced. But what you have to understand there is that whenever it bounced to that same roof. You see this? It bounced to that same roof. It bounced to that same roof. And then it broke above that. It came back, retested it and went up. Now, that was the area of mid accumulation where most of them were getting the bottom, close to the bottom of the market cycle. Now you have the late accumulation where people are still coming in, they are still accumulating into their packs, and they see like, okay, great, this is an opportunity before the markup, and that just was going through. We came back to retest the same rounded bottom pattern, if you see, with that SEC dump, and then slowly corrected back to the upside. Now, when people argue that SEC case is still there, we are not going anywhere, you need to ask yourself, okay, with SEC we crashed like this to 0.17, 0.1675 to be precise, in many exchanges which I've watched at that time, and then it bounced back up towards $2, which is 10-12x in profits with SEC case going on. So for me, just neglected. It's just something happening in US. It is an important factor in short term because any news can push you down. We just saw what happened recently with the Coinbase, the crypto SEC kind of stuff. But that's short term. When you zoom out like this and look at the long term, okay, you went through the early accumulation, we have done the mid accumulation, we have completed the late accumulation, we are entering into the markup phase. That means this is important. Now look at this one. You literally can extend this here, meaning you have a line where you are below that line for a long time and you break that line, came back down to retest that area, right? And then bounce. Now come back into XRP, look at that. You had this line for a long time. You look at this one. You had this line for a long time. You broke higher, you came back, you retested that and you started bouncing up. Now once you go up in that bounce, what happens? You bounce from there and again you correct back down, retest this range, and then you start the actual pump in the markup phase of that market cycle. So literally we are waiting for that. Literally the pump is pending. But the problem is, how many of us would still be there with that level of patience to get through that numbers? $6, $10, $12, $20. How many of you will still be there? Because I see a lot of people moving into different assets. I really get questions about, can I buy Ether now? Is it looking good? Now, yeah, it may go up fine. Looking even at the market cycle, you are like, it still has upside. Great, but what's the upside like? If you're buying from here and it goes to $8,000, $10,000, what's your ROI? 3x. So what are you looking at in assets like XRP where you are just entering into the markup phase, which in Elliott wave pattern we call like wave 2, right? This one, the first pump, we call like the wave 1 in Elliott wave analysis. But here in this pattern, it's trying to make it so easy for anyone and everyone to understand the market. So say if you are in this one, you are looking for the maximum run up, which is the wave 2, right? The biggest chunk of the ROI in that market cycle. So you're going to get this one and you want to exit the market before this happens. But understand this, the blow of the top like this, which is going to be really hard for you, me and all of them to catch, you need to be distributing before that. If the big guys are going to distribute here, take their profits, I'll say take your profits somewhere here. It's way better than taking your profits here or here. It's better here, right? It's way higher. Your ROI is higher. So when you're entering 2 to 3, that means 2 by 2, the mid portion of the markup or the late portion of markup, take your profits as you go up. Take it early. Don't wait till that blow off the top and you miss it. If that's the case, that's going to be a little bit of pain, psychology, emotion. Everything is going to go against you. So your own will may work against you. So now you literally have to zoom in, look at what's happening right now, because people tend to we are human beings, right? So people tend to have a lot of emotions and they are literally thinking like, okay, this is going down, the market is going down. So even in that scenario, you can just look at the market, understand the market, what the market is showing you, and literally look at, okay, what pattern is it? What the market is showing me? What can I understand? And it literally looks like, okay, fine, we recently came to a bottom and right now we are at that support, but are we breaking below? That's a big question there. Are we breaking below? And if we break below, where are we going? Now, if we bounce back up, what's the roof? So these are short-term fluctuations, which a lot of people are concerned with, but this is the big picture. So if you are an investor, you're literally looking at this big picture and getting positioned. So if the market is giving you an opportunity, you seize it. So your average, if it's 0.2, 0.3, and you don't care about buying more to push your average up because you believe you have a ton of XRP, which is enough for you, then it's fine. But most of us would say, okay, a little bit more, a little bit more. But remember, don't average up to a point where if you miss this and the market goes down immediately, you are neutral and then you're going back in negative. Don't do that, because if you push a lot more into the market, say you have 10 million, 100 million XRP and you're reaching here in your average cost, then there is a huge risk that the market may push you back in red. Even though in dollar terms you're increasing, and then you have to close your profit with red numbers, it's going to hurt you emotionally, it's going to hurt you psychologically. So where you are here, whether you are here or here in different assets, you need to understand where your cost basis is. So coming back to XRP, if you are one of them where your cost basis is below 5.5, below 0.7, 0.75, that's still kind of okay considering the targets we are looking at. If you want to average up to $2, $3, $5, it's up to you. But think about the impact when the market goes down in ROI reduction. So that's going to come in at one point. Now, this has been created back in 2010 and you see Brian Shannon highlighting this. So huge shout out to this guy putting this one so easy to understand. So now we look at the actual economics, right? The price increase, why it increases, the supply, the demand. We understand that part based on this one and when you go back in. So now literally people are asking, okay, what are we going to do tomorrow? That's going to be a really hard question to answer for anyone. But basically when we look at this, we see something like this. We're coming back into that support range where we have bounced before. We came back, we retested, we bounced. Now we got a fake out. We came back with all that news. The short term market pushed lower. It even wicked lower to 0.8. Now it's a coin market cap chart. You can actually see that now. If you go into XRP USD chart from Coin Paprika to see what happened there, you see there is no long wicks. So it depends on which exchange you are in, which chart you are looking at. So don't be confused. This one where you see the long wick, I'm showing you the worst case scenario using coin market cap chart, right? That happened. Great. Now, if you are to bounce back, because we've been bouncing back from this level from some time, you can anticipate like, okay, that's going to be a support. Why? When you extend this and come here, now you literally see like, okay, that was a resistance zone before. Right now it's support. Now we're extending. What was it before? It was again a support here, and a resistance here. So we've been at that level for some time, right? You go back, look at the time, that's like April. From April, you are respecting that range. Now, this is how you look at the market to understand whether the market is going to give you an opportunity or you're going to miss it out. Now that's completely up to you. Look at this scenario. You had this one, you had this one, and then you had this one where you went to the upside. In between, you literally, just before you went up. Now zoom in here and understand. Just before you went up, you had this drop. Right? You dropped, you came back immediately, consolidated there and started the pump. So before that pump, we were at 0.5. By the drop, we literally in the market, with that drop, you kind of reached the bottom there, which was somewhere near 0.4, 0.45, and then you pumped towards the top of $2. So that's a 5x after that. So if you are utilizing this in this markup phase of wave 2, you make it 10x from there. Who knows, right? 0.8 and $8. That's going to be what you're eyeing it. But if you're positioned well, you're taking your profits much earlier. Now, yes, these are like short-term charts where you're looking for 4-hour chart and looking at all the patterns evolving in the market. And that literally shows you people were accumulating here. Now, this is the macro stuff which we looked at for the market cycle. Now, when you go into trade, if you are that guy who's trading this market, you do have to understand this. There was a lot of people thinking, okay, this is the bottom, I'm going to accumulate here. Then it capitulated and there was a lot of other people who were buying in here. Great. That was the mid accumulation day. And then you had people who were buying in here. Great. That was the late accumulation and then you ran up. Boom. So you go back in this one. You see this particular. Now that's why I gave credit to that creator, because that's so important to understand all of. Now I'll put the link in the description below. So when you read through this explanation, now you know the supply, demand, how the price is reacting, what you can anticipate, that stuff in any chart. You go to different asset, you still see this being valid there, right? So in one chart, one asset, you go 4-hour, you go daily, you go weekly or monthly, you still see these patterns evolving. So this helps you to understand that. Before this, we don't trade short term. We don't care about the short term volatility, but the viewers does. So that's why I'm explaining this in a 4-hour chart, because a lot of people are getting irritated by a short term drop where you were literally at 0.2, 0.3 before, you were literally at 0.5 couple of months back, and now even after double the price and you see a little bit of drop, people get irritated. Now that's traders, those who have that issue. So again, reiterating this point, take a look at this one. It's important. Anticipate, analysis, then participate. Exit, sometimes it's avoid, because this particular area, this segment of the downtrend, it's really hard to time. Now, if you are a short-term trader who's using just 5% of your portfolio to trade at that time, after taking your profits here, that's still okay. You are trying to trade, because we can trade with the pattern analysis or wave analysis, right? But if you're only using a small portion of your portfolio, your emotion is low. You're like, okay, I just took 100x from the market and I'm just using 5% of it to trade. That is the emotion which you need and the level of confidence to trade there. So now go back to all your assets you have, look at this, position them as well and say, okay, I'm going to do this for this particular asset because it's here in the market cycle. In the wave analysis, it's here. So I don't see much of an upside for this particular asset. I don't see much an upside for this particular asset, but I do see a ton of upside for these assets. So I'm going to be positioned here when these assets hit these numbers. That's what you literally need to do to position yourself to maximize the gains and minimize the risk. So that's the important part in this bull market. Next 9 months, 10 months, a year, you're going to see a lot of fluctuation in the market. You're going to see we are doing that blow off the top, then drop, then move higher, then consolidate, then go higher. This pattern is going to be repeating again. You're going to go blow through the roof and people would be euphoric and the price starts to drop. Then again, we are going to do that. Then again, we are going to do that till a point where it gets so much overpriced, the market won't take it more. It will go down. So if you want to stay out of the trouble portion, you need to understand this and take necessary actions in your portfolio. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. And if you have any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. And whenever I'm free, I'll try to get back to you. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.